Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to break down the NASCAR Truck Series race at Darlington Motor Speedway on Saturday. We got a big weekend of NASCAR at Darlington. We have a Truck Series Cup and Xfinity Series race, and I'll be making videos for all of those. It's just the first one I'm making, so be sure to check out that video or videos for those other two. So I'm really excited for this weekend. The late summer fall Truck Series races are always really good. Our Darlington races are always really good. So I'm really excited to watch this race. And I mean, really the Cup Series more than anything. I mean, and in this Truck Series race, we have 3 NASCAR veterans or Cup Series veterans from the past that are going to be driving in this one. So that's going to make this one a little bit tricky, but we'll get into all of that. But before we get into all that, if you're new here, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, leave a comment. All those things really help me out. We've had a lot of growth throughout NASCAR season and NBA season. And then NFL starts next week, man. Next week. And on Monday, I'll be starting to put out videos for NFL season. So be sure to look out for that. I have a lot of content coming out for NFL and on YouTube, and I'm so excited for it. And I hope you guys watch it and join in for that as well. You know, we all love fantasy football, so be sure to check in for that. If you're new, if you want to get some more of my content, you can subscribe to my Patreon. I'll put in the description below. For NASCAR, you're going to get for $10 a month for all 3 series combined, not just one series, all 3 series combined. You're going to get a cheat sheet with all the projections, with all the stats you need to know, along with projections, along with a daily article or an article for every single race. You're going to get salary tier rankings and a cash core, so be sure to check that out. I'll put the link in the description. And if you want to follow me on social media, my Twitter's at DFSNateLane, my Instagram is at @NateLane_, and I just love to talk about sports over there. NASCAR, basketball, football, baseball, everything, man. I just love talking about sports, college sports, man. Oh, that's coming up too. I mean, I'm so excited for the next few months of sports that are about to happen. So, all right, let's get into the video, or to the drivers. We'll start with Johnny Sauter, who continues to be the highest priced driver and continues to be bad. I'm not playing Johnny Sauter. He's $11,000, starts 23rd, last 5 races, an average finish 16th. That's all I need to say. We're going to move on from him because I don't think there's really any reason to play him. I know he starts far back, but literally so does Christian Eckes. Christian Eckes, 10,600, starts 17th. Oh, I didn't mention, they've never raced at Darlington. Well, they haven't raced at Darlington here in a long time in a truck, so, or maybe ever. I know in the last few years they haven't, and that's where all my data comes from, because I don't want to go back 10 years into the Truck Series to find data on like Johnny Sauter, because that's a different Johnny Sauter. So anyway, it's considered an intermediate track, but it's really not a lot of intermediate tracks. So I think it's hard to put it as that. But Darlington is a steep track, and I think that's a better one to look at. So Dover, Bristol are both steep tracks, and I mean they're still not similar, but they are tracks that are, you know, high banked. So I do think that those are just tracks you need to look at. But for the most part, I'm really just going to be going based on how they've been running this season. I mean, Christian Eckes starts 17th. In the last 5 races, Christian Eckes has an average finish of 6, an average position of 7.2, and 103 laps led. So we know he's going to get back up through the field. And I think he had the best truck in the Gateway race last weekend, but him and one of the, I forgot which driver they got. I think it was Austin Hill. It was either Hill or Creed. They got together, and it cut a tire down for Eckes, and that was the end of the race. So Christian Eckes had some bad luck there, but I think he had the best truck, and I think he was going to win that race. So I definitely like into some Christian Eckes today. I feel like on normal slates, Christian Eckes would be very popular today, like very popular. But I mean, there's just some other guys that I know we're going to get more ownership, and then we'll get into them. But I think Christian Eckes is still a good play because I know he can lead laps. I know he's going to be able to get through the field. I don't know how. This is a tough track to pass that, and like this is a short race, so I don't know how likely it is for Eckes to be a dominator, but it could happen. And then he's got the place differential upside. He'll have a top 5 truck at least. So he has good floor. He's someone I definitely want to get to in cash games, but I think he does have some GPP upside as well. Sheldon Creed at 10,300 starts 14th. No, I'm sorry, that's Chandler Smith. Starts 14th at 10,300. Chandler Smith's been bad this year. He wrecks every single race. I've played him every single race, and I always feel like, oh my god, this guy wrecks. Average finish of 20th in the last 5. Average position of 15th. Not been good. But he's still Chandler Smith. He's a very talented driver. He is in the KBM number 51 truck, which we all know is like the fastest truck in the field. So the upside's there. I don't know. Depending on if you're only playing one lineup, I wouldn't play Chandler Smith, but I still want to get to him in GPPs because I think the ownership is starting to go down on him just because everyone's just getting so down on Chandler Smith. So, but he still has the upside, and I would not be surprised if he won the race, honestly. So, Chandler Smith still looks like a solid option. Sheldon Creed starts second, $10,100. Honestly, the steep tracks and the intermediates just aren't his strength at all. I mean, I know I said I wasn't going to pay attention to it that much, but the tracks that are at least somewhat similar to Darlington have not been good to him. And in the last 5 races, he does have a win. That's inaccurate. But Sheldon Creed has not really been running well except for his win last week at Gateway. But I don't know, man. I don't think this is a track where he succeeds at. I don't think he gets out to the lead early. I think his teammate will, Moffatt, who we'll get into in a minute. But, Sheldon Creed, not someone I want to get to as much. Up next, we have Austin Hill starting third. I think Austin Hill is going to be sneaky. I don't think he's going to be owned. In the last 5 races, we have an average finish of 6.75 for Austin Hill, an average running position of 8.2, and 116 laps led. He's someone who could definitely get out front early. I don't think anyone would be that surprised of. He's been very fast all year. I'm pretty sure he's still leading in owners' points for the season. So Austin Hill's looked really fast all year. Just always been a consistent driver. He's kind of like Chase Briscoe of the Truck Series. Just consistent, leads laps, always up front. So starts third. I think he can get out to an early lead. And I think Austin Hill's a good, solid option that's not a ton of people are going to be on. All right, David Reagan. Here's one of the Cup guys that's coming in. If you watch Cup Series, you know David Reagan. He was a solid driver in the Cup Series, but now he's coming back to the trucks, and he starts dead last. He's in a DGR Crossley truck, which is, it's not a great truck, but it's a good truck. So I don't really think David Reagan wins this race. I think he can get a top 10. I think that probably is maybe a top 5, but I don't think he wins. So I think Reagan's a good play. He's gonna be the most owned driver him and Biffle are going to be the 2 most owned drivers on this slate. I can guarantee that. He's going to have so much ownership because he's a big name. He starts dead last, and he's not like the most expensive driver. Like, David Reagan should be the most expensive driver today. I don't know why he's only $9,700. And then we'll get into Greg Biffle. He should be more expensive too. But $9,700 David Reagan, I have no stats on him in the Truck Series. we know he's a good driver. He's a good place, cash lock. And he's going to be highly owned in GPP, so he's someone maybe to get away from. But but still, man, he's just got such a high floor, and with the ceilings there too, it's tough to get away from David Reagan today on this slate. So, but he's someone I am still considering getting off of if you're playing tournaments because he's going to be 50% owned. So, and that's just, I hate playing guys who are going to be that owned, honestly. So, but if you're someone who doesn't care as much about the ownership, just trying to cash in, then yeah, David Reagan's a great play. But if you're trying to win GPP, there are definitely options to fade him. Zane Smith starts 4th, 9,500. Dude's been on a freaking hot streak, and he does have the best average finish at intermediates and steep tracks, so if that counts for anything. In the last 5 races, he's an average finish of 4.25, average position of 7, and 144 laps led. Dude has been absolutely on fire. He led the early stage last race, so I think Zane Smith's got a fast truck. I think he's someone that could definitely win this race, and I'm definitely going to be having some exposure to him. I don't see why you wouldn't at this race. Matt Crafton starts 10th, $9,300. He's been running really well. He'll get to a top 5 finish, but I don't think the ceiling's really there. I could just pay $200 more, or honestly $200 less for both those guys who have more potential to lead laps. Matt Crafton, he just hasn't been a dominator this year. Just someone who finishes pretty decently high. So, not someone I really want to get too much of, but he's definitely someone to have in some of your lineups this week. Todd Gilman, $9,100, starting 15th. Todd Gilman had the best truck. Todd Gilman, after Eckhart wrecked, had the best truck left, and he was going to win that race before Creed basically just took him out. I felt bad for Todd Gilman. He's had a rough year this year, and he just seemed to get taken out like that. But he starts 15th. In the last 5 races, Todd Gilman has an average finish of 9.75, an average position of 9, and 20 laps led. But he looked really good last week. The truck looks fast. I could see him having a good race here. I think he's a really good driver in a solid truck. So I think Todd Gilman is able to compete for a top 5 in this race, and I don't think he's going to get a ton of ownership. He'll probably get more than some of these guys around him, but still not a high-owned guy because, there's a pretty obvious build of what's going to happen on this slate. So Todd Gilman, a solid option. Bret Mavis starts on the pole, $8,900. He's the pick to lead the early laps. It's a tough track to pass that. So I think Bret Moffatt probably leads the early stage. In the last 5 races, Moffat's been running really well. Average finish at 8.6, average position is 6.4, and 109 laps led. He's had a fast truck all year, just hasn't found a way to victory lane. Maybe this is the race he does it. He's gonna have to beat some good competition this week, but he's still been really fast, and we know he's talented. He's a past truck champion 2 years ago, won a championship. So definitely a solid option here. Someone I want to get some exposure to, someone who I think leads to early portion laps, and someone who I don't think is gonna get a ton of ownership. So I think Bret Moffatt is interesting. Grant Enfinger starts 7th, 8,700. He's just going to finish around there, probably, maybe drop a little bit. He really hasn't been running so well as of late. Had a terrible race at Gateway. Last 5 races, average finish is 6.75, average position at 10.4, and a laps led 38. So he's been solid, just not someone I really want to get too much of. Same with Ben Rhodes starting 5th. I think that's where he finishes, so I don't want to get too much of him. Stuart Friese has been bad this year. He finally had a good run at Gateway, but still, last 5 races, average finish of 15.66, average position at 19.4. Still has been bad. All right, Greg Biffle. Here's the guy I think all of us want to talk about. This is the guy that everyone wants to know about. Well, Greg Biffle is a past Cup Series winner. So is David Reagan, and so is Trevor Bane actually. But Greg Biffle was really competitive driver, someone who was competing for championships back when he was back in the day. So he's starting 20th, and he's in the best truck out of all these veterans. He's in the GMS number 24 truck. It's a truck that Chase Elliott's been driving this year. It's a truck we saw Sam Mayer drive the last 2 weeks, and he finished 3rd, I think, at Gateway, 3rd or 4th at Gateway. And so, what is not to like about Greg Biffle here? And he starts 20th, and he's only $8,100. He's too cheap. Greg Biffle should be one of the top 5 most expensive guys on the slate. It makes 0 sense. 0 cents. Last year we saw Greg Biffle race one race at Texas. He dominated it and he won it. It was in the 51 truck, but the 24 truck's still really good. I just don't see any reason not to play him. He's going to be so highly owned because of his price, because of his name, because of his starting spot. It's literally because of everything. The least thing DraftKings could have done was price him up. It makes this slate just ridiculously hard now because you have 2 guys who are both Cup Series drivers who start in the back, who are in good equipment, who are not expensive enough. They're locks, and it's just hard to get off of those guys. So, Biffle, great play. If you're gonna lock in one driver, if you're locking in 2 drivers, it's Greg Biffle and David Reagan, and then figure the rest out. Those 2 are just so far ahead, better than this field. They're more experienced. They've won in the Cup Series. Greg Biffle, definitely someone I want to get to. Derrick Crouch starts 13th. He's sneaky every week. Last 5 races has an average finish of 8.2, an average position of 9.6, and 9 laps led. We all know Derrick Crouch always has solid upside. Could get you a top 5, but probably gets you a top 10. Tyler Ankrum at 7,800 is going to finish there. So I don't ever play Tyler Ankrum because he just doesn't really have a ton of upside. Trevor Bane, this is the other one. This is the one I'm probably not as much interested in because he's in the Nice Motorsports truck, which is good equipment, but it's not great equipment. It's okay. That's the team that Ty Majeski drives for, Natalie Decker drives for. And, Majeski's solid. Natalie Decker is just not good. I think that's the truck he's actually in this week is Natalie Decker's truck, right? She's not racing, yeah. So he's driving that truck. I've never been a huge Trevor Bane fan. I didn't really think he was that good in any way, so... he's not, he starts 26th. He is only 7,600 though. That is something. He's going to get a ton of ownership. I can guarantee you Trevor Bane gets a ton of ownership. If there was one of the 3 to fade, I think Trevor Bane's probably going to want to go to because I just don't think the upside's there as much for him. And I could pay $300 more for Derrick Crouch, who's going to be so much lower owned. And, yeah, he doesn't have as much places to get, but they can finish about the same. And, Trevor Bane might get, just the top 15. Now, he might go out and win the whole freaking race, and I'd be shocked. And I'd be like, okay, well, I was wrong. But, I just don't think the upside's there as much as it is for, Biffle and Reagan. I really don't want to make a lineup with all 3 of them. I really doubt all 3 of them have a clean race, and all 3 of those guys are, the top 3. It's just, I doubt that. So, yeah, I think Bane's okay, though. Ty Majeski starts 12th, $7,400. Just starts too high for me. Same thing with Rafael Assar. Both those guys just start too high for me. We can go look at their last 5 races. I think I'd rather go to the Majeski than Lassard, but I still don't really want to go through that. Last 5 races, average finish at 13 for Lassard and an average finish at 17 for Majeski, so not something I'm too excited in. Tanner Gray, 7,100 is interesting because he'll probably just hang around there. That's what you need from him. Starts 11th. Last 5 races has an average finish of 10.5 and an average position of 13.5. So if he just hangs around there, he's going to be a solid option. Austin Wayne Stealth starts 24th. I hate playing. This is another guy I just hate playing. I feel like every time I roster Austin Wayne Stealth, he screws me. I just don't think he's that good, but it's whenever I don't play him, he does well. But last 5 races has an average finish of 16.75 and an average position of 19.4. He starts 24th, can offer you some place differential. Timmy Hill starts 21st, $6,700. In the last 5 races for Timmy Hill, he has an average finish of 19.33 and an average position of 20.66. Not really someone I just want to get to, but he's fine. Bailey Curry is not in a good cart. Those average finishes are when he was in a Nice truck. Now he's back in a 74 truck, so I don't want to get to him. We never played Norm Benning or Clay Greenfield or Jordan Anderson this year. All of them have been trash. Tate Fogelman starts 18th. In the last 5 races, he has an average finish of 19.75, so he can hang around in there, maybe get a few spots, which is possible. I don't hate him. Dawson Cram starts 28th. I think he's actually a solid option, $5,600. In the last 5 races, Dawson Cram has an average finish of 21.33 and an average position of 25.33. So he's decent. Like, you're going to need some value if you want to play some of these top-tier drivers today, and I think he's someone who could get you there. Danny Bone, Spencer Boyd. Spencer Boyd starts 25th. Last 5 races, he has an average finish of 24. I'm not really looking to get there. I don't even have Danny Bone's stats loaded in, but he had a top 20 last week at Gateway, $5,300. If he can hang around there again, I think he's going to be a solid option, but the upside doesn't really scream that much. The guy I think everyone's going to play is Cody Rorball. I think he's just going to be ridiculously chalky because usually DraftKings prices up these guys starting at 30s, but he didn't do it with Cody Roarbock. So at $5,100 in the last 5 races, he has an average finish of 23.25 and an average position of 27.25. So, I mean, he's the cheap guy to go to. I think he's got a good floor, and he's got, a possibility of a top 25. So, I think he's decent enough to get to. But he is going to be really owned and maybe just pivoting to, like, Danny Bone or even Rayomi, even though I really don't like playing Rayomi, is maybe the move, or even Dawson Cram. So, yeah, I don't ever play Jennifer Joe Cobb or Brian Barnhill. They're not good, so just avoid them. I think that's really all I got to say in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys make some money. And hope you guys enjoy watching some NASCAR. Make sure to check out my other videos that I have coming out for the Cup Series and Xfinity Series. I'll have the Xfinity Series. I'm recording that right after this, so they're going to both be up at the same time. And then the Cup Series one will come out tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day.